Okay, is it fucking working now? Okay, so, whatever. It's gonna take forever because it wasn't processing it, so, oh, it's not gonna work. It's take forever to load. It'll be like, oh, it's making a video now. Okay, so, I don't know how I'm gonna title this, I'll figure it out later. But anyway, so, this is gonna be like most of my, like, I'm gonna be on a rant and everything. I guess we're gonna start for the first couple of minutes, we're gonna focus on and be like, try and be like positive. Okay, our point and everything is gonna be it's not as bad as like parents would always say. They'd be like, oh, kids are starving in Africa, that type of bullshit. You're like, oh, you're not starving, you have food on the table, you're not homeless, and all this crap. As compared to other people and all that crap. Um, and then I'll go, but like, continue about being depressed and mad about my life and all that crap. Finish up other crap I was talking about and other videos. And most of my videos that are like on negative topics, I try and stay on the topic in the beginning, and then it doesn't really, it kind of wanders off at the end. And occasionally I'll come back to the topic and talk a little bit more and add to it, but kind of just go on a rant. Okay, anyway, sorry for that long intro. Okay, so basically, my positive point and everything was just like, it's not as bad as That's a Lie. It's equal or even worse, and just different types of pain. That was my note and everything like that. Okay, so, people, like, a lot of the times, like, my parents are beasts and all that crap. Okay, so they get away with this shit and everything, and parents do this shit all the time, and they're always like, oh, compare it to this or whatever, when they refuse to give you any love and support, and they're like, oh, well, I did the bare minimum, and that was their fucking job, and in my case, like, the government even paid you to fucking do that, to do this bare minimum, and, like, over half the time, you didn't even do that, because my food was shit, and I was sick a lot, and because of the food and all that crap, and, yeah, and, and like hand-me-downs and not proper clothing and not thick enough clothing, crap enough, so I was sick a lot more and cold a lot more, and not enough blankets, and you obviously never turned on the heat or like the AC and everything, so I always felt like we were dying because it was so cold and or it was so fucking hot and everything like that. And then my dad liked to waste a lot of our money on trying to run a business, and that got shut down, but we spent a lot of money, and we were painting a lot and breathing a lot of paint fumes and everything, and it was a mess. And then it got shut down, obviously, because my dad didn't have any permits or anything for it. And also, the girl we was working with was super sketchy because, like, prostitution and crap. Like, that's what it looked like, and that was looked like what advertising and everything, and what she described for the most part, just verbally. And she might have been illegal. Like, she might not even be in this country legally. She was like Chinese or something like that. We have no idea. We had no idea what she was saying. She didn't really speak a lick of English for the most part. And she didn't have like a certificate for this area, or definitely not in this state. She had like some random ass certificate for like massaging. And like, we have no idea where that's from. And it looked like it might be in this country, but it was a random ass state. And like, there was no way to verify any of its information. And like, she could totally just like type it up and just print it off the internet. It didn't seem legit at all. The more you think about it, the less legit it was. Yeah. But it seemed more legit because it seemed like she was working another area, but she probably was just renting a room for the most part, inside like the gas station. She was like renting a room there. And like, yeah, we did get a few massages, but we have no idea what else she was doing. So, yeah. No idea. But, yeah, that was a fucking mess. Okay, that was a different problem. Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's why we wandered off again. But, okay, yeah. But I was saying, before anyway, it's obviously not a valid excuse and everything like that. Comparing to the kids starting Africa, the pain is different. And, like, I would compare I would always downgrade, be like, oh, well, I'm not doing this, or, oh, my friends are suffering more worse than me, and all that crap. For the most part, in those situations, even, like, my friends were abused or whatever, and different things like that, and their issues in their life. Either my pain was actually more than theirs, or like it was equal. And for the most part, now I think I was like almost all pain is equal, and there are different types of pain, and most of the time they were talking about was physical pain. And then yeah, I do get that physical pain does cause some mental pain. But I mean, I'm already suffering from that. My physical pain is just a lot less than my mental pain. And theirs is the opposite. They have, their physical pain is far more than their mental strain. And then also, it comes so worse and everything, and now me, I have all these mental problems that cause physical problems. Yeah, so, fun. Yeah, so, comparing yourself to other people, especially in, like, your pain, well, you're like, it's not as bad as whatever. Like, if it's not to make yourself feel better, but it's to, like, to invalidate you, and it's definitely not to do in the long run, because then it will feel like it's invalid, and then you're not suffering, and you don't feel pain. But, like, I also don't get, like, the normies and shit like that. People who are normal, and I always still think that I was, like, being abused was normal, plus it was normal by society. They just didn't talk about it, and they were like, yeah, this is normal. It's also why I'm like, I don't relate to other people, and they're like, oh, I didn't go through that, and all that crap. And then, like, a lot of people, so apparently because it's normal, so the majority of people don't have any of these problems, and they don't really have mental issues, and they're like, oh yeah, I felt sad, so I kind of felt and understand, like, depression, or you were depressed for, like, a couple of minutes. You never experienced real pain in your entire life. You've experienced, like, oh, it's just the pain that, like, happened because you were alive. And because you're alive, you're going to experience a small amount of pain just from being alive and existing. Like, oh my god, I stabbed my toe. That's what it's equivalent to, and I hate all of those people. And I do believe that they should be punished. Obviously, I'm not going to do it and everything, but I'm like, you should be punished. You should feel real pain. You should feel real pain. You should have suffered. You should be punished. Or should be karma. My karma is different. Because I was like, everyone should have at least felt pain. And real pain. And not this bullshit that they're talking about. Like, oh my god, I had to go to therapy. Oh my god, I'm unhappy. I feel sad. Shut the fuck up. You feel nothing. For those cases, I'm like, your feelings are not valid. I don't give a shit about you because you are complaining about bullshit. That's not real pain. I don't believe anything. Because their real issues are not real issues, I swear. Yeah. Okay. Being ignored, being annoyed, and hitting people like normal. Okay. But yeah. But if you're effed up like me, and less than me, then that's fine. If you actually have experienced real pain and real suffering and real problems, then no matter, even if they're not as big, and they're not the same, and they're different, and they're not seem as big, and they're like, oh, well, my problems are smaller, it's not that big of a deal. Don't believe that. You still have problems, you still have issues. It's okay to be like, oh my god, it's overwhelming. Because things are overwhelming, it's crazy, and yeah, you have a right to feel valid and everything like that, and, like, you are feeling pain and suffering, and, like, if people care and support you, they'll be like, yeah, that's what you're suffering and what you're dealing with is really fucked up, and we'll try and help you through it, or just be like, hey, I'm a place to you can vent to, and everything like that. So you can talk about it, and they won't judge you and be like, oh, that's not a big deal, because it is a big deal. And obviously I'm saying this because the people who are normal and everything like that, they're being like, oh, I felt a little bit sad and shit, they're making a big deal out of nothing. While you are minimizing and making the big deal and the big problems and everything act like that is nothing. Is the other way around. Like, obviously, like, I want to make this, like, obviously, I kind of want the other people, the normies and everything, to experience, like, real pain and everything like that, because, like, they're not going to. We all know they're not going to. And obviously, they're not gonna react the same way. People who've already been fucked up and everything to that pain. Like, we'll be like, oh yeah, I'm used to it. Or it'll be like, oh yeah, that's gonna push us over the edge and trigger our mental disorders and shit like that. And, like, and especially for, like, bullying and shit, like, people who've never been bullied and then, like, they were bullied, they're not going to react the same way has someone who has self-esteem and who has been bullied and who will believe those lies. Because someone who's been bullied and everything, you say, like, go kill yourself. They might actually do it. But someone who's never been bullied, and if you say those same words to your, like, attackers that bully people, you can say that freely and everything and with no consequences because they're never going to fucking do it. And that's the exact reason why they deserve to. That's why they should. Yeah. So I hate people. Anyway, oh yeah. And then back to family issues and that crap. Because I'm back to my topic anyway. Well, obviously you're valid and everything, and you thinking it's not a big deal when other people you're like, hey, that's a big deal and that's an issue. Believe them and don't compare it to other people's problems. So just like, just no. And then also they're like going to Africa and everything. People in America are starving, like, and homeless and shit. Like, I don't know why the fuck you're going to another fucking continent to compare them and act like America doesn't have these problems. Oh my god, it's not as big. Just lower numbers. The percentage of our homeless people is apparently just, and starving people is just lower than some other countries. Well, a lot of other countries. We're gifted in that area, but I mean, you can tell that to a fucking homeless person. Is that gonna make their day better? Really? No, it's not. It's not gonna make their day better, and you're gonna try to be like, oh, compare your pain to someone, like, who's homeless in a fucking desert. And be like, we just have different problems. Because we have different climates and different environments. But our pain is almost equivalent because we're both fucking homeless. Wow, they're dying from the heat and then cold at night. Well, I still have to deal with the whole cold. I don't have to deal with the same level of crazy temperatures, but obviously if they're in that area, their body can handle a little bit more of that. Well, my body obviously couldn't, and my body's already struggling with the conditions and the temperatures in my environment, so it's complete bullshit. Yeah, so comparing pain is total BS. Like, obviously it's valid. Okay. Maybe I should make a separate video. Okay, I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit more separate about my family rant in a couple of minutes, so hopefully this works out and just be like, trying to be positive. Okay, well, being angry and negative and being me, yeah. We can't really be positive without the negative. Sorry, bye.